My son said to me last week, I really want an Xbox. And I said, well, how much are they? And we looked at them new and we looked at them on eBay. Um, and then we went to a shop locally where they sell secondhand electrical goods. And he saw one in there and was like, oh, I could get this one. And I said, well, have you got the money? He said, no. And I said, well, how are you going to get it? And he had this big outburst like, I want the Xbox. And I said, well, you can't just have an Xbox, can you? You've got to save up for it. You've got to pay for it. I want a lot of things, but I can't have them right now. It's a really good lesson. And I said, it's frustrating. You've got to feel frustrated and use that frustration and that desire of wanting something and turn it into an action plan. And he said, what do you mean? I was like, right, let's make a plan together. Let's put a project plan together. And I want to share this with you today in today's episode because it's such a simple process, but it can be applied to anything. And I think sometimes we lose sight of how to aim towards earning a particular amount of money, and actually the power of sometimes driving towards that. It's really simple sometimes, and we just get in our own way. So I'm going to just talk through this project plan today that I did for my son. So, of course, this is a completely simplified explanation. And he's in a fortunate position, let's just say, in terms of selling what he has because he's a child. But I just want to go through this process because we started off by recognizing what he wanted. And that can equate to our lives too, in terms of if you're in a full-time job and you want to transition out and you want to drop a day a week at work, you've got a goal of replacing that one day a week of income. Or it could be that you want to attend an event or you want to sign up for a course. And so you've got a particular amount of money that you need to acquire so that you can go and fulfill whatever it is that you want to do. And so first of all, that's the thing. It's having something to drive you towards earning the money in the first place. And I think that's key, because if you don't have that, it sometimes just doesn't give you the purpose to really drive towards putting a plan into action. So the first step is identifying what's the money for in your life. Why do you want to earn money? And getting crystal clear on that first of all. And that becomes your drive. And so for my son, it was the Xbox. And so he wanted an Xbox. There was a certain amount that he needed to find. And so the first thing was, what have you got right now? Like, what have you got in your pocket money? And he had pocket money for Christmas and his birthday was October. So he had a bit of pocket money saved up. And so we wrote, first of all, money in, which is how much money he's got. I do laugh here because there was a section here of daddy's pocket. £13 in daddy's pocket. I wish we all had a pocket where we could just pull a bit of money out of, don't you? And so we worked out what he had right now. And then, of course, what's needed. What do you need? What's the difference? So what do you have minus what you need, yeah. What you need minus what you have, that way around, so that you've got the difference. And again, you can equate this to like the things that you want in your life. Like, okay, if I want this course, how much do I have right now? And then we looked at Isaac's situation, like, let's look around your bedroom. Have you got any spare coins knocking around? And that is the equivalent of you looking around and cutting back on things. If there's something that you really, really want, looking around, how can you shave costs off certain things for a time being? And so we went through that exercise together. Like, this is what you've got. What can we do to find any more? What's the easiest way of finding some more money? Looking down the back of the sofa. And so then he realized what deficit he has. Right, I've got this deficit and it was £50. I need £50 to be able to go and buy this Xbox. So then all of a sudden now he's got a plan. So he's got a drive for why he wants this money. And now he's got a plan of how much money he actually wants. And I love this because if we all work on this, it then gives you the plan of, right, what am I going to do to bring this money in? And so we sat down together and we started to create ideas. Now, we sat and spoke about the ideas, and we kind of had a conversation that he could mow the lawn, he could maybe clean cars, And then we got onto the, and he was like, no. When I said clean the car, he was like, no, I'm not cleaning a car. And then I said, well, how about selling your artwork? And he was like, oh, I would love to do that. So we then sat down and worked out how much he could charge. And if he charged £5 a piece, how many would he need to sell to get to the £50? And again, this is something that I think as grown-ups, we sometimes forget to do this. We forget to just crunch some numbers, especially as artists, creatives. We forget to just plug the numbers in and see, okay, if I want this amount of money, what would I need to sell? And how much do I need to sell it for? And I showed him that if you sell them at £5, you're going to have to sell 10 of them. But if you sell them at £10, you're only going to sell 5 of them. Life gets easier when you sell them at a higher price point. And again, this is a great exercise for you to do, because I know some of you are pricing way down the bottom and you're having to chase sales constantly to make ends meet. And actually, if you just increase your pricing a little bit, you'd be over the year making a massive difference to your income. So I want you to just be mindful of that. And this is what we're going to be talking about in the Start Selling Your Art workshops at the point of recording this, that start next week. So if you're not signed up for that yet, the link is below. And so all of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, I'd only have to sell 5. Okay. But here was the interesting thing, right? When we started to look at the pricing, even he started to have fear around, oh, I don't think I could sell it for 10. I think I'd have to sell it for 5. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Even as a 9-year-old, not seeing the value in his work. And I have to admit that even I had some fixed thoughts coming in, right? So I started to think, when we were like looking at this and we started to then think about who we could sell to, I was thinking, ooh, it's a bit cheeky, isn't it, to go and ask someone to spend £10 on his artwork. You know, we have to be mindful of these thoughts that crop up. Now, I know that they were just not valid, but they come anyway. These thoughts arise. And so as you're going through the process of trying to figure out where you're going to make money and how much you're going to charge, be mindful of that voice in your head. I can't charge that. That would be too much. I should be giving it away. I should be giving it away as a gift. I thought that we should be giving these away. We shouldn't be charging for them. And so I bet there's someone out there listening right now who's going, yep, that's me. I just want to give it away. I feel bad for charging. So that recognizing it and knowing it can then give you an insight into, I need to reframe this, because of course it's okay for you to sell your artwork. And so then once we knew that, okay, you can either sell it for 5, sell it for 10. What we could do is make some smaller pieces at 5 and some bigger pieces at 10. You know, we started to talk about that, but let's just keep it simple. It's like, let's just keep it simple for now and just charge one price point. And so, and then we kind of, we mapped it out on a timeline as well of, because Isaac couldn't quite get, hold on a minute. So if I price at 5, I've got to get 10. And so I visually wrote it out, like, here's 5 artworks. If you price those, they go off to someone. And then we came to the who. So this is something that I teach, that, you know, you've got the why I want to do this. The what is, now I'm going to sell artwork. That's what I have to offer. And then we start to think about who is going to buy this artwork? Who could you sell it to, Isaac? And we obviously go to the people that we know, first of all, like they're the most obvious. And so, of course, it was friends and family. But what was interesting here was that with each member of the family, we really started to think about that person and what would they like as an artwork? You know, what would be more appealing to them? And this is where I want to just pause a minute and explain this as it relates to you and your art or whatever it is that you're selling. Because sometimes when you've got something to sell, when you start to understand who it could be for and who it relates to, there's an opportunity sometimes to adapt your work to make it more desirable. And that might be the way you frame it. It could be the subject matter. It could be that you tweak something about your work to appeal to an audience. And this doesn't deviate away from who you are as an artist or why you want to make, but it's looking for opportunities to increase the value or the desire of what you have. And so again, I think this is something sometimes that, you don't have to do that if it goes against what you want to do as an artist, but there is an opportunity there. So I just wanted to plant that seed in the people that need to hear it, that you can sometimes adapt the work when you identify an audience. So let's say, for example, let me explain this. And I'm going to simplify this just so that you can really understand it. If you were painting, something that related to music, you might adapt the work. Say you're really obsessed with musicians and you love going to shows and you like to paint people as they're playing music. There could be an opportunity there to adapt the work to relate to a particular artist or a venue. And so you reach out to the venue and you say, I really love painting musicians. Could I do a series of all the people that feature and sing in your venue this year? And you reach out, you put the artwork up on the walls, they get a cut, you get a cut. And that's you adapting the work to fit a particular audience. And this is where sometimes I know why, as an artist, we sometimes just don't think out the box, don't see these opportunities. Anyway, so this is why I went back to Isaac and said, think about each family member and what do they like? What is something that would mean something to them, so that when you go and ask them to buy this artwork, they go, oh my gosh, I love this. How did you know? And in essence, sometimes that's what we're doing when we're selling, is putting things into places where people are going to say that, I love this. How did you know? I would love this so much, because you're putting the work in the right place. Now, of course, Isaac's got an advantage here because we're family and he knows us really well. This is harder to do, I know, when you're not sure who your people are. But I wanted to raise this and say that there's an opportunity there once you start to understand who you want to attract, who your artwork is for. And so we wrote a list down of, the size, who he could sell them to. And then he knew that if he could sell them and he got a yes from all of these people, he would hit the £50 that he needed to make. And of course he did it, because everybody bought one from him. Now he thinks selling art is really easy. And what was really interesting was, as soon as he hit the goal, he just stopped. And I was like, you could make like an extra £50 here. There's still loads of people on the list that have said yes. He's like, yeah, I've got it now. And I'm going to take a break now. But that whole concept there of breaking it down to, okay, why do I want this? I think that's so important when you're driving towards a goal. Why do I want it? And then, what is it that I'm going to sell? What is it that I have here? And sometimes it's playing around with those numbers and playing around with, if I sell it at this, how many do I need? And if I sell it at that, and then you realize, wow, if I put the price up a little bit, I don't have to work so hard. And again, this is what we're going to be talking about in the Start Selling Your Art workshops. And then really thinking about who is going to be interested in this. How can I maybe adapt the work so it does stand out to these people more? And really kind of building that connection between what you have and who would be interested is key. And as an artist who wants to get their art out into the world, that is your job, is to really think about who can I connect to this artwork, and it becomes a constant project for you to figure that bit out. And I know it's difficult, but quite often it's really simple. Sometimes we're just overcomplicating it, and you only need one person at a time, the next one person and the next one person. And I think sometimes we feel like we've got to have thousands and thousands of people and just reach people on social media. But it usually isn't the case. It's about reaching out to somebody on an individual basis. And the other thing I want to just add as we wrap up is, this is something that a lot of artists don't do. They don't even ask for the sale. And sometimes that's what you have to do. And I know this is really uncomfortable, but it's saying, are you interested? Did you want to buy something from me? Being quite direct, because sometimes people just need to go, okay, now I need to make a decision. And you're asking a simple question and they can say yes or no. And sometimes you've got to ask for the sale, like Isaac did. He went out and asked, and that was a big lesson for him. And I said, if you don't ask, you don't get. So there we go. There were some lessons. I hope that they were helpful. Like I say, we're starting our Start Selling Your Art workshops. I cannot wait. At the point of recording this, if you're watching the replay, we always have events coming up of some kind throughout the year. So please do check our website for the latest events coming up. And I hope to see you in the Start Selling Your Art workshops if you're attending them. If you want to sign up, the link is below. Take care. Have a great week. Thank you.